Welcome back to Jakas Journeys, and thank you for joining me for the third video in our Euro series. If you're planning a trip to Europe and applying for a Schengen visa, this video is a must-watch. We're going to cover everything you need to know about the documents required for your visa application. Getting your documents in order is one of the most crucial parts of the visa process. So let's dive in and ensure you have everything prepared for a smooth and successful visa application. Let's start with the most fundamental document you'll need, your passport. It's crucial that your passport meets specific requirements to be accepted by the embassy or consulate. These are the key details you need to ensure. Your passport should be issued in the last 10 years. If your passport is older than that, you'll need to apply for a new one before applying for the visa. Next, your passport must be valid for a minimum of 3 months after the date you plan to return from your trip to Europe. Next, it's essential that your passport has enough blank pages to accommodate the visa stamp. Typically, 2 blank pages are enough. Passports with handwritten notes or alterations on the biodata page, the page with your personal details, will not be accepted. Your passport needs to be machine readable and in good condition. These requirements seem simple, but it's always a good idea to double-check your passport for any issues before you start preparing your other documents. Second document is passport photos. You'll need to provide 2 passport-sized photos. It may sound straightforward, but there are specific guidelines you must follow to avoid any issues with your visa application. Here's what you need to keep in mind. Your photos should be no older than 6 months. This ensures the photo is a true representation of your current appearance. The photo must be between 35 to 40 millimeters in width. The photo should show a close-up of your face, with your head and shoulders visible. Your face should take up about 70 to 80% of the photo. The background should be plain white, with no patterns or distractions. Also, ensure there are no shadows on your face or background. The photo should be sharp and high quality, without any glare, reflections, or red eye. You can take your photos at any professional photo studio that knows the Visa photo guidelines. However, it's always a good idea to check the requirements in advance to avoid any mistakes. For any further details, you can refer this PDF. Pro tip: even though the embassy requires only 2 photos, I recommend you take extra copies. In my personal experience, they might ask for 3, so it's better to be prepared. Third document is visa application form itself. The visa application form is a key document, and you must ensure it's filled out correctly. Here's how to handle it. You will need to fill out the visa application soft copy by entering details in the blank spaces or take a printout and filled it. Take your time to enter all the information accurately. Once the form is completed, print it out. Don't forget to sign the form where required. Without a signature, your application won't be processed. Make sure you include the place where you are submitting your application. This is often an easy step, but important nonetheless. If you're unsure how to fill out the application form, don't worry. In the previous video, we discussed the application form in detail, and I recommend you watch that to make sure everything is in order. Fourth document is your previous passports, if applicable. If you have previous passports, you should submit them along with your current passport. Why is this important? Well, your previous passports might contain visa stamps, which can be beneficial when the consulate looks at your travel history. This shows them that you are an experienced traveler and that you have followed visa regulations in the past. If your previous passport has expired, it's still useful to submit it as part of your application. Just make sure to keep it together with your current passport, and you can even tie them together with a rubber band or store them in the same folder to avoid losing. Fifth and most important document is personal covering letter. One of the most critical documents in your visa application is the cover letter. This letter is your opportunity to explain the purpose of your trip to the consulate, so it should be written thoughtfully and in detail. You can use this format for your cover letter. Here's what to include in your cover letter. Start by mentioning your name, passport number, and contact details. You'll also want to specify the dates of your trip and countries you will be visiting. If you are traveling with family or friends, mention who will be accompanying you. Include their details and mention that they are also submitting their visa application separately. If you are submitting the applications of your family, then their applications must include a copy of the covering letter. Like in my case, I have attached a separate covering letter for my spouse. Clearly state that the purpose of your visit is for tourism. You can also briefly describe why you've chosen Europe as your destination, what you hope to do, and why the trip is important for you. Explain your job and your employer's approval of your trip. Include your employer's confirmation that you've been granted leave for the trip and NOC. Also, mention your financial situation and reassure the consulate that you have enough funds to cover your stay and travel expenses. Provide a brief overview of your travel plans, including which cities and countries you plan to visit. You don't need to get too detailed, but you should give a clear picture of where you're going. Also, mention all the bookings that you have already made, such as accommodation, flights, and intra-Schengen travel. This will convey that most of the cost of travel has already been paid. Make a list of documents that you have attached as a part of this visa application, such as passport, visa forms, photos, flight tickets, payslips, ITR, and detailed itinerary plan, etc. End the letter by thanking the consulate for considering your application and expressing your hope that your visa will be granted. A well-written, detailed cover letter can make a huge difference in your application. It shows that you are prepared and serious about your trip. In my case, I wrote a 2-page cover letter, and it was very effective. Feel free to write as much as needed to include all the necessary details. Sixth document is Introduction Letter from Employer. If you are employed, an introduction letter from your employer is essential. This letter should be on your company's letterhead, be signed and stamped by an HR representative or company director. Mention your position within the company. State the duration of your employment with the company. Include a no objection statement, confirming that your employer has no issue with you taking time off for your trip. Mention the dates and purpose of your trip. If you're self-employed, you won't need this letter, but you will need to provide alternative documentation, such as your business registration certificate and other relevant business documents. Next document is travel insurance. Travel insurance is mandatory for the Schengen visa application, and you must provide evidence that you have purchased it. Here are the key details. The insurance should cover medical expenses up to at least €30,000. It should also cover emergency repatriation in case of medical emergencies or other unforeseen circumstances. Your insurance must be valid for the entire stay in Schengen area for the duration of your trip. To get your travel insurance, you can check the official list of approved insurance providers for the Schengen visa. Once you purchase it, make sure to include the insurance policy number, the coverage details, and the validity dates in your application. 8th document is flight reservation. You will need to provide proof of your flight bookings. This is a simple requirement, but you need to ensure that it includes round-trip flight tickets. Proof of your departure and return flights should be included in your application. Be sure that the names on the tickets match the names in your visa application. Intra-Schengen travel. If you're visiting multiple countries within the Schengen area, you'll need to provide proof of how you'll be traveling between them, such as flight bookings or train reservations, or car rental booking or EU Rail Pass. I will make separate video on getting EU Rail Pass and how to use it on the go. Make sure to book your flight tickets in advance so you can show the embassy proof of your travel arrangements. In my case, I opted for a train journey for intra-Schengen travel, which was also accepted. 9th document is proof of accommodation. You must provide proof of where you'll be staying during your trip. This could be hotel reservations. Provide your confirmed hotel bookings for the entire duration of your stay in each country you will visit. Invitation letter. If you're staying with friends or family, they will need to send you an invitation letter confirming that they are hosting you. This should also include their contact details, legal status, and address. For me, I traveled across multiple countries, so I included hotel reservations and proof of payment for my accommodations. 10th documents, and one of the most discussed documents, is proof of financial status. To ensure that you can support yourself financially during your trip, you will need to provide a few key financial documents as a proof. If you are employed, Do you need to submit last 3 months of salary slips? You can get it signed by your employer if you want, but not necessary. This should show your income over the past 3 months. You will need to provide your last 3 months of salary bank account statements, which will show credit of salary in your account. These must be stamped and signed by the bank 1 week in advance of appointment date. If needed, you can also submit documents related to any investments, savings you own to prove you have sufficient funds. As mentioned in checklist, you can submit statement of your personal bank account also, which can be your DMAT account, FD or PPF, etc. The most important question is how much balance we need to show. If you have already done prepaid booking for accommodation, flights, and intra-Schengen travel, then taking approximately 1,000 rupees expenses for food and other per day for 2 persons will be enough, and you can show bank balance accordingly for total days of trip. Next, you will need to submit your ITR verification form or acknowledgement letter for the last 2 assessment years. This shows the consulate your income and financial stability. In some cases, you may need to submit additional documents depending on your situation. If you are self-employed, you will need to provide business-related financial documents, such as your business registration and bank statements for the past 3 months. If you are a student, your parents must provide financial support documents, including their bank statements and tax returns. For retirees, submit your pension bank account statements and proof of any regular income you receive. Finally, don't forget about the visa fee. The current visa fee is €80 for adults, €40 for children between 6 and 12 years old, free for children under 6 years old. You can do visa fee payment in Indian rupees at VFS Global Visa Center. Final tips for success. Make sure you submit your documents in the exact order specified by the consulate or as shown above. This will make the process smoother and show that you are thorough and organized. Go over the checklist to make sure you haven't missed anything. Missing even one document could delay your visa application. Ensure you have all the required documents ready well before your visa appointment. Don't leave it to the last minute. By following this guide, you should be well prepared for your Schengen visa application. I hope this video has helped clarify the entire process for you. By following all the procedures as mentioned in last 3 videos, I got my Schengen visa approved for duration of 3 months at first attempt. Thanks for watching, and good luck with your visa application. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. See you in the next video.